really changed up. She got her weight up. She's good in the hood, her haters salty. She got her own whip. She own her own business. She do her own nails. Salty. She's riding a bush.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Spirit Amore. And I just wanted to, I don't know, there's like a lot that's been going on, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, like I've been doing a lot of, I guess you can call it self-work. Just as far as like, I don't know, self-work. But so like with that, anybody that has like started, you know, really working on themselves and getting to the root of, you know, certain, well, all issues, but really it's just like some things that you just can't ignore like you think you can, like especially when it comes to progression, you know, like when if you see yourself in like a better position than what you're in right now, or like than what you've been in, then certain things start to I guess you can kind of say bother you. Like certain things just start eating at you because it's things that you need to deal with, or things that you thought you've dealt with, but maybe you didn't deal with them properly simply because you didn't even know there were issues until you started working on yourself, like in a real way. So that's what I've been doing. It's not no damn bubble gum and lollipops, like I could tell you that, but it's beneficial. It is rewarding, to say the least. Like I guess I'm getting to that part where it's gonna be like more rewarding than I think it is, just simply because there's things that I understand now that like I've tried to avoid. Like I didn't have the worst childhood, but there's things that now, like more frequently, they're starting to like bother the hell out of me, simply because, you know what I'm saying, like there's well, I'll say for one, because I have my own children now, so it's kind of like I don't, now that I'm aware of how, you know, certain like little things can become bigger things, like I don't want to pass these same things down to my children. You know what I'm saying? Like there's some things that it's like, okay, there could be some tweaking here and there, but there's some things that I'm just like, no, I don't want to pass this down to my children, because for me, I don't really see where it was beneficial in my life. You know what I'm saying? Or I see where it did more damage than good. And this is no shots to like the family I grew up in. It's just simply, you know what I'm saying, things that I'm aware of that I feel like they couldn't be talked about when I was growing up. So I feel like I grew up in a family where communication wasn't a strong point. So now, since I've been more aware of that, you know, more so recently, but I've always known there's an issue with the communication and how we used to communicate as a family, like growing up. And that's, you know, like I said again, it's partly because I see it now being a problem of how, you know what I'm saying, we do communicate. So whatever. But I don't know, you know what I'm saying, I feel like this is something that, you know, everybody goes through, as far as doing self-work. You know what I'm saying? You have them times where you really just, well, for me, like, it's really just a frustrating time because you know that you are growing and you know that you're healing, but I don't know, you still, like, there's like hella stuff that you still gotta work through, and you kind of just don't know, well, I don't know like the best way to go about it. outside of, I said, okay, maybe I'm just gonna, do videos, because like I said, we all could relate to each other. So I feel like by me putting it out there or whatever, you know what I'm saying, it might not resonate with a whole lot of people, but whatever. If it does, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I know that this is something that's going to help me, because it's been on my heart to do, and I've been avoiding it like the fucking coronavirus. But yeah, I feel like, you know what I'm saying, I feel like there'll be somebody that'll watch, you know what I'm saying, this little series of videos and be like, okay, you know what I'm saying, they'll recognize the same thing has either gone on in their family or still going on in their family or whatever, and they'll just, you know what I'm saying, be able to work through it a little bit easier, knowing that they're not alone. You know what I'm saying? Because we tend to feel like we're alone more often than not, even though that's not the truth. So, without further ado, one of the things that, I've been reflecting on is how relationships were perceived in my family. And it's not just like, intimate relationships. It's like all relationships. You know what I'm saying? Because I grew up with double standards. I'm not the only female in the family as far as like grandchildren go, but I'm the one that was around, the most. Everybody else kind of just had, they didn't come around as much, I guess you could say, or their parents didn't bring them around as much, or I had some that grew up in California, so it was kind of just, it's kind of like I was the only girl, even though I wasn't. So I grew up around all boys, which is one of the reasons why I have an attitude a lot of times, or a certain type of attitude. You know what I'm saying? Like, my masculine side has been way more dominant than my feminine side, because I've always had to defend myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've always had to, I won't necessarily say fight, but I did, fight my male cousins. You know what I'm saying? So then when it came to me going to school and being in relationships, I didn't have a problem. If it came down to that, like, that was my go-to thing, is to, I guess you can kind of say, challenge, you know what I'm saying, when a dude came at me a certain way. And it wasn't out of disrespect. It was just simply because it was like, I deal with this, or I deal with certain types of things within, I'll say, the household, even though it wasn't necessarily, the household that I grew up in. It was just the family. But, so, yeah, like, that was, it was nothing for me, like, because since I've had to defend myself so much, it just became nothing to be defensive all the time. You know what I'm saying? It became nothing to automatically resort to violence. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that I just was a violent person growing up. However, I can pinpoint some situations where, yeah, they were violent situations. It's nothing that I'm proud of or not proud of. It's just like, now that I realize that that's an issue, you know what I'm saying, it's something that I've definitely worked on over the last couple years. Being in mentally abusive relationships and physically abusive relationships, you know what I'm saying, I've had to overcome a lot and really process, like, yo, why are you always going off? Like, why are you always doing this? Why are you so quick to do this and do that? So, like I said, when it comes to relationships, the things that I grew up with, it was just like, I thought that was normal behavior. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times when you grow up with certain color skin, you know what I'm saying, certain things are looked at as normal behavior. Like, it's not normal behavior. It's not normal to be arguing in every relationship that you have. It's not normal for small disagreements to turn into hella big issues. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not normal. That's where communication comes in. And if you can't communicate, then you don't need to be dealing with each other on an intimate or non-intimate level. You know what I'm saying? Friendships, relationships, any kind of ship. So, like I said, the way that affected me is that I was ready to fight all the time. Now, mind you, I didn't grow up having to fight physically most of the time with other people outside of my family. I physically fought people inside my family, males inside my family. So when it came down to it, yeah, I would have fought males outside my family, but it just became like an arguing match a lot of times. Or like when I was in elementary school, I had people that would stick up for me. So even if it was, getting escalated, I had people that would step in. You know what I'm saying? Which was never a bad thing. It didn't really go the same way with like females. I didn't really have a lot of female friends. I had like 2 best friends until I switched schools. And then once I switched schools, I didn't have those best friends no more. And then, well, I say 3. I had 3 best friends before I switched schools. And one of them I did end up keeping in touch with until we were like grown or whatever. She ended up going to jail. I think she's still in jail. She was robbing banks. But needless to say, I didn't grow up being surrounded by a lot of females. A lot of females, when I switched schools, because I had to switch with my cousins, a lot of females would like try to befriend me, you know what I'm saying, to get closer to my male cousins. So I already, you know what I'm saying, I already knew the vibe. So I kind of just was like, whatever. Like, I'll talk to you to make my cousin feel like he's making the right decision, but really, I don't like neither one of y'all. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's affected me to this point. It affected me a good deal of my life. Because I always thought that, for one, violence was the go-to thing. I felt like I didn't have to communicate, in a certain way. I didn't have to explain myself, and it wasn't even to explain myself on a, I don't know, like on a petty basis. Like, I felt like I didn't have to explain myself as far as how I felt, as far as how, I may perceive certain things. Like, I felt, you know what I'm saying? I didn't feel like that stuff was important, but I do see that it's important now. It's very important, So that's one of the things that I definitely do cherish. Now I cherish people that can hold decent conversations on a consistent basis. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I've had to fight mentally more so than physically outside of my family. So when it comes to that type of thing, well, when it comes to communication, I'm a mental person. Or when it comes to relationships, period, like, I'm a mental person, because I didn't have that growing up. We didn't have conversations in the household. And then I can remember one particular time where we were having a conversation, but I got treated as if my opinion didn't matter. So that's like one of the times I can remember that I told myself, then I just won't talk to people. You know what I'm saying? Then I'll just be quick to shut down. Like, I'm very aware of that particular instance, which also has had, a big to-do in my life, because I am quick to shut down. Like, I don't have the time to waste my breath if I feel like you're not valuing what I have to say. And I feel that way often within my family. I feel that way often within people outside my family. But nowadays, you know what I'm saying, with the type of self-work that I'm doing, it's just like, I don't know. I won't say that family is more important, but dealing with, I don't know. I don't know how to word it, but yeah. So, like I said, that's one of them things that I'm definitely have been working on, because I did realize that that's one of the things in my childhood that affected me long term. you know what I'm saying, in a not so good way, because I always would tell myself, like, I'm not about to deal with these kind of people, or I'm not about to deal with this kind of person. And, you know, lo and behold, these are the kind of people that kept coming into my life. So I had to step back and be like, yo, there's a reason why you're attracting these type of people. So you have to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't keep getting frustrated. You can't just keep walking away, because you're going to end up in the same situation over and over and over until you learn what you're supposed to learn. And I learned that communication is definitely key. I've also learned that I don't have to tolerate double standards when it comes to people. Like, yeah, I respect everybody's point of views and opinions, but I don't have to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? If it doesn't agree with what I feel, or if it doesn't agree or line up with what I'm, you know what I'm saying, trying to make happen, or whatever the case may be, then I don't have to deal with you. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to cuss you out. I don't have to put my hands on you, but I don't have to deal with you either. You know what I'm saying? So it feels good to be at that point where you know what, you know, needs to be done. So yeah, I don't know. The work continues. This list goes on of things that I'm realizing took place in my childhood. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, this would be like a little series or whatever the case may be. And I don't know. Hopefully I can help somebody. But yeah, that's one of the things. More double standards was like that females couldn't do the same things men did, whether it be industry wise, whether it be you know, just in the household, or whether it just be simple stuff. Females can't watch this and females can't watch that. And I remember my grandpa had a Cadillac, and I mean, it's a blurry situation. I've literally tried to block out everything that I didn't like when I was growing up or whatever. But anyways, now I remember my cousin told me that girls can't have Cadillacs. You know what I'm saying? So like, of course, looking back on it, it's funny. You know what I'm saying? But I also see why. You know what I'm saying? I grew up, again, as far as relationships go, I grew up pretty much under the notion that you couldn't speak up for yourself when it came to dealing with males. You know what I'm saying? It's best for you to just agree with them. And, you know, I guess pretty much ego stroke, you know? I have tried that a couple times, but it's like everybody, for one, like, yeah, it's a time to stroke egos and it's a time to not. And I would be in situations where I would continue to stroke egos even when mine was being deteriorated, or even when not even my ego, like even when my self-worth was being deteriorated and belittled. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would still stroke egos because that's what I thought you were supposed to do. I thought it would get better. You know what I'm saying? But that goes into the whole mental abuse thing. And that's something that I had to learn as well. So, with that being the case, you know what I'm saying? It takes for you to be aware first and foremost, which I'm learning stuff about myself all the time. But in order to really get over this stuff, and in order to really heal this stuff, like, I have to dig into the past in order to get over it, because those things are starting to affect how I operate, or they've been affecting how I operate, but they're like stopping my progress. And I know this and I'm aware of this, so I have to do something about it, you know? Sorry about that. So, yeah. I will definitely be back with another video. And we're just gonna talk some more. Hopefully if you're watching this, you can relate. And if not, thank you for watching anyway. I'll see y'all in the next one.